We're coming to you from Hollywood, and Hollywood star Jennifer Lopez says her desire to sing came back to her after she starred in the movie biography, Selena. Jennifer says, quote, "I miss that very much. I miss the excitement of the stage, which I had early in my career with musical theater," unquote. Leaping 8 notches to number 19. Here's Jennifer Lopez with If You Had My Love.
The hits from coast to coast.
Well, now we're up to the first hit for Jennifer Lopez, who says certain songs are like bookmarks in her life. Play a favorite song for her, and she'll tell you exactly where she was when she first heard it. As is true for a lot of people, the music Jennifer Lopez grew up with isn't just music, it's the soundtrack of her life. She says, quote, "It's funny, but when I look back, there's always a song that will take me there." And it's lots of different types of music, too. Play the Latino sounds of salsa and merengue, and Jennifer says she's back in her parents' home, a little girl listening to her family's favorite music while she opens her Christmas presents. Play the song from the musical West Side Story, and Jennifer says she's sitting at the table with her family celebrating Thanksgiving. For some reason, she says, her family always played West Side Story during the Thanksgiving meal. Play the classic rap hit Rapper's Delight, and Jennifer says she remembers standing in her schoolyard in the Bronx hearing that song for the very first time. She says, "I heard it and my face lit up." And play All Cried Out by Lisa and Cult Jam, and Jennifer remembers being 13 or 14 and crying her heart out after her first breakup. These days, Jennifer Lopez is making music that's sure to become a bookmark in the lives of other people. Moving up 4 notches to number 9, here's Jennifer with If You Had My Love.
Counting down the hits with Casey Kasem.
I'm Ed McMann, in this week for Casey Kasem.
Number 3.
Holding steady is Jennifer Lopez, a woman whose newfound success as a singer hasn't slowed down her acting career. In an upcoming movie called The Cell, filmed this summer, she plays the part of a psychiatrist. Here's Dr. Lopez with a song that'll have her patients dancing off the couch. It's called If You Had My Love.
If you had my love.
Now, we're up to the latest hit for Jennifer Lopez, a singing actress who fully expected to sing when she was cast as the lead in the film Selena, and almost walked off the film when she discovered she had to lip-sync every song. To land the role of the late Tejano singer, Jennifer Lopez had to go through several singing and acting auditions. She spent dozens of hours listening to Selena, getting her every vocal inflection just right. And so you can understand Jennifer's surprise when before the filming of her first concert scene, a vocal coach showed up to give her lessons in lip-syncing. Jennifer says she was stunned, and even though this was her big break, she wanted to quit the film. Jennifer felt as if she'd been misled and that she was missing a great opportunity to prove that she could sing. But the producers eventually calmed her down. They explained that since Selena had died just 2 years before the film came out, fans would know it wasn't her singing. And to be true to Selena, they had to use her voice. Well, Jennifer had to agree. And despite the fact that she didn't sing in the film, it made her a star anyway. A star who's doing her own singing on the song that's this week's biggest mover on American Top 40, rocketing up 8 notches to number 24. Here's Jennifer with Waiting for Tonight. These are the biggest hits by the hottest stars, and easing down 3 notches to number 24 is a hot star, Jennifer Lopez. And if you're anxious to see Jennifer in concert, you're going to have to wait. Jennifer recently announced that she wouldn't be touring until after she finishes her second album. She says, quote, "I want to be able to go out with a nice amount of material to work with," unquote. In the meantime, here's Jennifer Lopez with Waiting for Tonight. These are the hits you're buying and radio stations are playing from coast to coast. Well, now we're up to the latest hit song by a young woman who rode the rails to success with a head full of dreams and a pocket full of tokens. This singer grew up in the Bronx, in a tough working-class neighborhood where simply making it through high school was a major accomplishment. But for Jennifer Lopez, just getting by wasn't enough. She had dreams of becoming a star. Of course, that wasn't going to be easy, but at least she was helped along by what for her was a magical road into Manhattan, a road traveled by way of the New York subway system. Jennifer says she spent so much time riding the rails, she began to think of the subway as her second home. For just the cost of a token, the subway took Jennifer to Midtown Manhattan, where she participated in city-run ballet classes, modern dance classes, acting classes, and singing classes. At one end of the subway was the Bronx. At the other end was a land that to her was better than Oz. It was a land, says Jennifer Lopez, where anything was possible. And with a lot of talent and hard work, plus a lot of subway tokens, Jennifer made her dreams come true. Which is why Jennifer titled her debut album On the 6, the number of the train she rode from the Bronx to Manhattan. This week, subway rider Jennifer Lopez rides the rails up 3 notches to number 24 on American Top 40 with Feelin' So Good.
Number 25.
Easing down a notch is a 29-year-old who started her show business career a quarter of a century ago. She began her first dance lessons at age 4 and hasn't stopped moving since. Here's showbiz vet Jennifer Lopez with Feelin' So Good.
Number 25.
Easing down a notch is Jennifer Lopez, a performer who stays in great shape. How does she do it? Jennifer says, quote, I watch what I eat, I exercise regularly, I do cardio workouts, unquote. And that's what leaves Jennifer feeling so good. And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA. It's by a star who keeps herself happy by traveling everywhere with her best friend from elementary school. As soon as this singer, dancer, and actress graduated from high school, she got started on making it in show business. She moved quickly from a role in the road company for a Broadway musical to a job as a fly girl on the TV series In Living Color, to roles in movies like Mi Familia, Money Train, Jack, and then her breakthrough role as Selena in the film biography of the Latina singer. But this superstar says something was missing. She needed a connection with her roots to keep her grounded. She needed someone she could really trust. And so she thought for a while about who she really wanted to talk to about her life. And the name that came to mind was Arlene Rodriguez, her very best friend in elementary school. So this star tracked Arlene down, and she asked her if she'd like a job as her personal assistant. Arlene agreed, and these days her boss says, quote, we do regular people stuff. We go to the movies, we do brunch on Sundays, we get our nails manicured, girly stuff, unquote. It's so simple, but it makes this star feel connected. This week, the star is also connected to the top of the chart with a song that once again is the biggest hit in the land. The number 1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the 3rd week in a row is Love Don't Cost a Thing by Jennifer Lopez.
Counting down the hits with Casey Kasem.
We're on our way to the number 1 song in the USA. Well, now we're up to the big hit Play. It's by a star whose image is the hip-hop bad girl. But she says she actually grew up well-mannered and a regular at the local church. If you judged Jennifer Lopez from her videos, you might think that she had a pretty wild time growing up, hanging in the streets and getting into trouble. But she says that even though the streets could be pretty wild, she was actually quite the opposite. Jennifer says, quote, I was a good kid. I was always hugging people. I listened to my mother, and I didn't do bad things. I didn't curse, and I didn't run around. I went to church every Sunday, though it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized how important it is to have a relationship with God. This week, the good girl from the Bronx has another hit to be thankful for. Jennifer Lopez with survey song number 10 on AT40, Play.
American Top 40.
I'm Ed McMann, filling in for Casey Kasem.
Number 18.
Jennifer Lopez is a hot movie star who's extending her acting career into television. She recently announced she's planning a TV special and a sitcom based on her own life growing up in the Bronx. In her real life as a singer, here's Jennifer Lopez up 5 notches with What Else? I'm Real.
Let's go. Counting down the hits with Casey Kasem.
And that means we're up to the brand new number 1 song in the USA. It's by a star who played a wedding planner in a recent movie, and then was a real-life wedding planner for herself. The movie was called The Wedding Planner, and it was Jennifer Lopez who played the title role, a woman named Mary Fiore who was completely and totally obsessed with each and every detail. Well, just a few months after that film, back on September the 29th, Jennifer Lopez was married to dancer-choreographer Chris Judd. And just like her character in the movie, Jennifer made sure everything was as perfect could be. The ceremony and reception were held on a hilltop estate in Calabasas, California, half an hour north of Los Angeles. 10,000 white and pastel rosebuds were brought in for the occasion, and to keep the wedding private, invitations were hand-delivered to the 170 guests just one day before the ceremony. They were directed to a high school in Calabasas where they had to pass through a metal detector to make sure that they weren't carrying any cameras or cell phones. Then they were bused to the mansion where, as one guest told People magazine, the timing was perfect. Quote, "When the ceremony was finished, the sun was setting and the moon was out." And then a DJ and a salsa band had the guests dancing into the wee hours of the morning. Well, this week, Jennifer's celebration continues on the countdown with the song that this week becomes the biggest hit in the land. The brand new #1 song in the USA on American Top 40 is I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez. And that means we're up to the #1 song in the USA. It's by a star who's following in the footsteps of Madonna, not just as a dancer, a singer, and an actor, but quite possibly as a resident of the land of Shakespeare. Though this woman from the Bronx doesn't have anywhere near Madonna's string of big hits, she's working on it. And with the #1 song in the land this week, her hard work is paying off. As an actor, she may even be pulling ahead of Madonna. This woman has starred in the films Selena, Anaconda, Out of Sight, Ants, The Cell, The Wedding Planner, and Angel Eyes. An impressive start. And now, just like Madonna, she says she's looking for a home in England. What does this rising star have in mind? Well, she says, quote, "It's been my dream to own a castle with a huge garden, lakes, and peacocks. It would be so romantic," unquote. So romantic and so pricey. This singer and actress is reportedly looking for something in the $13 million range. This week, the woman who someday wants to be the lady of the manor is currently the queen of the countdown with the song that once again is the biggest hit in the land. The #1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the third week in a row is I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez. We're counting down the biggest hits by the hottest stars. Well, it looks like Jennifer Lopez has one more venture to add to her portfolio. After prospering in the worlds of film, music, food, and fragrance, she'll have her own line of greeting cards, which should be out before the end of the year. Now, here's entrepreneur Jennifer Lopez back up a notch to #12 on AT40 with I'm Gonna Be All Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The hits from coast to coast.
The higher we climb, the hotter the hits. And that means we're up to the #1 song in the USA. It's by a superstar who recently used 6 limos to go on a trip most people would have done on foot. It happened when this superstar was in London to promote her new movie, Made in Manhattan. At one point, she had to travel between the Metropolitan Hotel where she was staying and the Dorchester Hotel where she was making an appearance, a distance of 1 city block. The singer and actress was staying in 14 suites with her 30-person entourage in the Metropolitan, and she wasn't about to just walk down the street with them. Instead, 6 stretch limos were hired to take this star and her support team from one hotel to the other. A crowd gathered to watch the limousines fill up with managers, agents, hair and makeup people, even a dietitian, a process that took 15 minutes. Then the limos rolled 1 block, and the party of 30 got out. Just a typical day in the life of the superstar, who once again is at the top of the chart. The #1 song in the USA on American Top 40 for the 4th week in a row is All I Have by Jennifer Lopez, featuring LL Cool J.
Top 40.
From the rising stars to the superstars, we have them for you on American Top 40. Rising 3 notches is Jennifer Lopez, a superstar singer and actress who got her start in film in 1986. When she was just 15, Jennifer had a role in the teen drama My Little Girl. She played a homeless teenager. 17 years later, Jennifer Lopez is all grown up and on our survey at number 18 this week with I'm Glad.
Casey Kasem.
The hits get bigger as the numbers get smaller. Well, now we're up to the song All I Have. It's by a superstar whose friends say isn't easy to be around. The reason? She's so perfect. People magazine recently named Jennifer Lopez one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world today. The magazine also pointed out that she's so beautiful, it makes her closest friends crazy. One close friend said, quote, I'm always aware of my nails when I'm around her. Her nails and toes always look great. She has gorgeous skin. She always looks fresh. Another friend added, quote, Jennifer is so stunning, she stops you in her tracks. She glows. And People magazine points out that Jennifer works hard at being perfect. She exercises constantly, and she avoids junk food, coffee, and alcohol. This week, the perfect Jennifer Lopez slips 3 notches to number 15 on AT40. Here's All I Have.